Welcome. We're back. First Sunday stream in like a month, I think. Yeah, Sunday streams are going to be back now. Hopefully, you all enjoy the Sunday streams. Typically, I'm able to do a lot more ticker requests on Sunday streams as there's probably less to cover. But we also talk about the market and try and get prepared for the week. So, yeah, while people are hopping into the stream, you know the drill. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin. Then we're going to be talking about all the altcoins. After we do that, I'm going to give my coverage on the market, my thoughts on the market going into this week. I'll talk about Clover, I'll talk about Fisker, Microvast, all the other ongoing trades. And then after that, we're going to do ticker requests for probably the majority of the stream. So make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And yeah, if you're new to the whole entire movement, the free trading movement, still wearing the shirt, I guess I don't ever take this shirt off, but I always try and wear it for the streams, the free trading movement. The link for the Discord is in the description, so make sure to join that. And yeah, futures right now are down a little bit. We'll come back to the stock market, but first off, Bitcoin has been on a tear this weekend. Right now, Bitcoin is right under $48,000. It's amazing, you know, to see how well this crypto space has revived itself after a pretty, I'm not even gonna say bad couple of months, but just flat, you know, really from pretty much May until this month, or until the middle of July. It was just very flat for Bitcoin and most cryptos. But now we're finally seeing a really good run. Ever since the bottom of that wedge with the ice line and bullish engulfing candle, it's been a great time for crypto, and it's been a crazy run for Bitcoin itself since then. Looking at the current technicals on Bitcoin, not much to talk about. You're a little bit high on the RSI, but still you have a lot more room to the upside on the RSI if Bitcoin wants to keep trending higher. You have closed 4 consecutive days over the 200-day moving average. The next resistance I see for Bitcoin is 50,400. So apart from that, things look fine. I just want to see Bitcoin continue to close above the 200-day moving average. Over the weekend, the Atom crypto trade actually hit the second target. So I put out this trade idea a couple weeks ago, or a few weeks ago, and the second target I think hit this morning, I think it hit this morning. So 56% profits in a couple of weeks or a few weeks for Atom USD. Across the board, the crypto trades are doing well. If you want these trade ideas for free, just join the Discord or follow me on Twitter at ChampionVibe. The Discord link is in the description, and Braden in the chat just dropped the link as well. So if you're not in the Discord, you're missing out. Apart from that, the Chainlink trade is currently up about 88% since the entry. I posted this idea of the trade a few weeks ago as well, trying to break over the 200-day moving average. We'll see if we can hit that third target for a 103% gain, around $30.61. The NU crypto trade is currently up about 38% since the entry, on its way potentially to the first target. I have to say potentially. But also the FIL USD crypto trade, which I believe is the most recent one, is up 33% since the entry, also pretty close to the first target. So across the board, crypto trades are just very good. Of course, thanks to Bitcoin, but if you were in the Discord, you cannot lie. I did kind of try my best to time the move up with Bitcoin about like a month ago at this point. So about a month ago, I was saying, you know, nonstop in the Discord that Bitcoin was showing a falling wedge and it was looking really good, and a lot of other altcoins were looking good. And I ended up opening a channel in the Discord dedicated fully to crypto alerts. And so far, every single alert there has been either hit a target or is currently in profit. So hopefully this can keep going, but of course you never know. But yeah, that's really it for crypto. Let's talk about the stock market now, which is why I'm sure most of you are watching the stream. Right now, overnight, going into the week, futures are down. It's not the end of the world. I mean, the S&P futures are down 0.25%. NASDAQ futures are really barely down 0.14%. And then the Russell 2000 futures, unfortunately, are down the most, down 0.59% for all the small cap traders. Not looking too good for right now, but we'll see what the morning looks like. Before I even went live, I actually recorded a video, and that will probably be out. I think I'll drop it tomorrow morning, but I did a full video on Clover, which I guess is no surprise. You know, I've been talking about Clover a lot. It still is around the same price it's been at for the past few weeks, but decided I've been spending a lot of time on the streams, just, you know, nonstop, probably dedicating like 20 minutes to Clover on each stream. Decided to actually just make a separate video for Clover. Of course, I will cover Clover on this stream in about 10-15 minutes, you know, for a little while, but I did make a fully dedicated video. That'll be out in the morning, so look out for that. Apart from that, going into this week, we have some interesting earnings. I think we're kind of getting through the bulk of earnings for the stock market, but tomorrow we have UWMC reporting before the bell. We also have Roblox and CleanSpark and IDEX after the close. Even Romeo's tomorrow, which I believe was a SPAC or something. I know it's in the AV space. And then on Tuesday, we have Walmart and Home Depot before the open. We actually have Krispy Kreme after the close, which is a recent IPO. On August, we have Target and Lowe's before the open, and then Nvidia and Cisco after the close. On Thursday, we have Macy's and Kohl's before the open, and then we have Ross after the close. So pretty big day for clothing, I guess, on Thursday. And then Friday's a pretty quiet day. We do have John Deere reporting on Friday. So yeah, apart from that, we also, Chatter Freeze dropped this in the Discord chat, I believe yesterday, the economic calendar for this week. Tomorrow we have the New York Empire State Manufacturing Index numbers, I believe. Tuesday, core retail sales, business inventories, and Fed Chair Powell speaks with town hall with educators. Then on Wednesday, we actually have FOMC minutes, or at least the meeting. I don't know if we're going to be getting the notes this Wednesday. And then Thursday, we have initial jobless claims in the morning. So pretty interesting week economically as well. We'll see how all those numbers affect the market. But yeah, looking at the technicals, we're going to get into them in a second. I'm just going to look at the overall market technicals. Then we'll talk about Clover and Fisker and Microvast and the ongoing trades, which should only take about another 10-15 minutes. And then I'll probably spend the majority of the stream doing ticker requests, because last week we did not do that many ticker requests. So I'm going to try and look at a lot of charts for all of you in the stream today. So if you are enjoying everything, make sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. But let me take a look at the chat for a second, because I haven't looked at it just yet. Dan says, looking for a tasty play for Monday. We'll be going over a bunch of charts tonight. We'll see what we can find. Medi says, driving, just stopping by to say those crypto alerts. Medi, turn off the stream, drive safely, and do the timestamps when you're back home. But appreciate it. Neutron Flux Lab says, get in that Discord. Missing out isn't the phrase. Your great grandchildren will curse your name for not being in the Discord. So I don't know if I want to say I agree with that, but that's the opinion that Neutron Flux Labs has. So join the Discord if you haven't already. Jordan says, someone at Clover give Champ a seat on the board. I don't think I'm capable of controlling a publicly traded company at 19, but maybe one day. You never know. Chetafree says, Kabul situation impact the market worth watching. Yeah, everything going on in the Middle East right now. I just hope everybody is or can be safe. I know it's very, very hectic going out there. So, my prayers to everybody who's currently going through it right now. And it's very, very tough for sure. And we'll see, obviously, a lot of political things affect the markets. So we'll see how all this kind of affects things. But it's it's always been a scary world. I think there's always going to be scary things in the world. I just try my best to share positivity, and yeah, so we might talk about it more later. It depends on how things are going in the stream, and just if anybody else wants to bring it up. But definitely keep watching the news, see how everything develops. And like I just said, my thoughts and prayers go out to everybody currently affected by all the conflict out there. Yeah. Ecom says, looking forward to ZEV and Clover having big weeks. We'll see, hopefully. And anything else? I think that's for the most part what I have seen. So yeah, let's talk about the technicals on the market. Keep hitting that like button. Let's get to 30 likes right now. We got almost 40 people in the stream. So for the S&P 500, we've been saying it in the Discord, Chatterfreeze and I, it's just kind of on autopilot for right now. There have been a lot of bearish technicals invalidated for the S&P, and that's why I've been saying for a while now, it's like, regardless of bearish technicals, the overall market conditions fundamentally, and just, I guess, the overall sentiment has just been so bullish ever since the COVID crash. And we're just continuing to make higher highs. I mean, we closed at all-time highs nearly every day last week, even though it was a relatively flat week for the S&P. If we go over to the weekly chart, not too much of a movement, but still a green week. And yeah, I mean, going into this week, I guess you still have a potential for classic bearish divergence, but it's not really doing much for right now. We're just still kind of curling upwards. I mean, really ever since the end of May, it's been a pretty good trend for the S&P. Obviously, if we're just looking at that short term, but if we zoom out, you could say ever since the COVID crash, it's been a really good trend. For the S&P 500, the way I'm looking at it is like, yes, I believe volume is declining. Yes, we do have the potential for bearish harmonics and divergence and everything, but in my opinion, it just comes down to the price action. I personally want to wait for lower highs and lower lows to be developed on the S&P 500 for me to be bearish, right? So I want to see some sort of a trend shift in terms of the price action before I look at all the technical indicators. It's just, with how everything has been going, it's just been very, very tough to try and use technicals to try and say, oh my gosh, the market's going to reverse tomorrow or the day after, whatever it is. So I'm just going to be more reactive and just kind of see what things turn into as things do turn, which eventually they will. And we did talk about that wedge last week. It's on my chart. The original way I had it charted, we actually broke to the upside of it. We go over to the 1 hour. I still think we broke the upper supply line of any wedge, right? So if we look at it like this, right? You have 1, 2, 3 touches and you broke out of that. So just, again, another bearish technical invalidated by the super strong market. So you cannot be surprised. But again, also cannot be surprised if at some point in the near future we start pulling back a little bit just because of how things are so crazy. But apart from the S&P 500, the NASDAQ also trending near all-time highs. Not much of a change here, just kind of chopping around. Maybe another type of a little bit of a wedge here if we just connect it like this. Something like that. It's not super clean, but yeah, we could be into like a little bit of a wedge formation for the market. We definitely are trending higher, but losing a little bit of steam. You can definitely see things are starting to slow down for the price action to the upside after a very, very good May and June and really July for the NASDAQ and the S&P. Things are kind of going from just straight up to more of like slightly higher and higher and higher. But apart from that, if you look at the ARK ETF, which tracks a lot of retail, mid caps, and growth stocks, it's been trending down. It has been. If we go over to the daily, Friday was not a great day. Kind of looks like we're just around that border of this upsloping channel. So we'll see what this week can bring for mid caps. But even if we go over to the 1 hour, there's a little bit of like a head and shoulders formation on the ARK ETF. So not the best looking technicals, unfortunately. It did look good a couple weeks ago when I made that one stream, which was literally titled like the ARK looks good. I don't even remember what I titled it, but it was all about the ARK ETF. And we did see a couple of decent weeks, but now it is starting to lose some steam. Russell 2000 also kind of trading sideways, but still within this broader ascending triangle. And if we scroll down a little bit, VIX pretty much at the lowest level since the middle of July. The dollar pulled back a little bit actually. Could be a little bit of a double top forming here on the dollar, which could be good for equities. Dow Jones, all-time highs. Yeah, everything else just kind of seems like it's an autopilot. So that's really my thoughts going into the week. It's just like things are good until they're not. And when things turn around, you have to be quick. I mean, not financial advice, but I will be quick to react and just make sure you're always managing your risk and stuff like that. So we'll see what everything turns out to be this week. Good luck to everybody trading. Yeah, we got a lot of other takers to talk about. We're going to talk about Clover now. Then we'll talk about Fisker and Microvast and all the other ongoing trades. And in about 15 minutes, we'll do tick requests for the rest of the stream. And I'll just look at charts for all of you. But don't drop any tickers in the chat just yet. Keep hitting that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're on the way to 3,000 subscribers. Hopefully we can hit that milestone this month. So it's all up to everybody watching the stream. Ecom says, dude, I've been there. I've been in armed conflict for 2 years. Afghan army is just weak AF. Yeah, thank you for your service, says the guy. I agree with that. What else? Co-creator in the chat from Tar Heel Stream says, better late than never. New here, liking the channel. I'll be tuning in more. Appreciate that. And then also, I think it's about to pop up in a second here. But co-creator, thank you very much for the $2 super chat. And the message is, let's see if it'll pop up. Might just awkwardly wait here for a second until it does. What's up, Thomas in the chat, Dan in the chat. There we go. So co-creator with a $2 super chat. Appreciate it very much. Let's get some vibes in the chat for co-creator. Says, what's up, Champion Vibe? Glad THB linked to your YouTube. Yeah, Tario's been crushing it, absolutely. And I watched the Clover, the Round Taylor, whatever, called today for a little bit. And the community's awesome. I've never really been, I guess, a part of like an individual stocks community, maybe apart from like Fisker, but the whole entire Clover community has been very, very kind to me, and I really, really appreciate that. So yeah, thank you again for the super chat. Let's get some vibes in the chat for co-creator. Anything else I missed? And that's for the most part everything in the chat. So let's talk about Clover. I literally, before streaming, I just made like a 15-minute video on Clover, which will probably drop tomorrow morning, but it's still interesting. I don't care that it was down 9% on Friday. Nothing has really changed, and I don't care how long I have to say that. That's just how it is sometimes. You know, a lot of people say 99% of trading is just waiting. So for right now, I'll be as patient as I need to be with Clover, right? I know there's a lot of people that have frustration about it obviously going up to 10 last week and then coming back down to 8, but I'm giving it its time. You know, I remember with Fisker, it definitely took a lot of patience, not only last fall, but also in January when it was in the Wyckoff accumulation range. I've been in a similar situation before, looking at a stock that I was obviously bullish on. And I personally think still, I've said it before, I still think patience can be rewarded. I do not think that that trading is meant for people who are impatient. I tweeted out a quote last week where it's like, I forgot exactly what it was, but it was like, just really simple. I cannot help people who are impatient. You know, if you're watching my stream and I'm talking about things that I think look bullish, if you're not patient, most likely that's not going to be suitable for you in the long term. Patience is very, very important, not only in trading, but obviously more so in investing in long-term positions. But with Clover, nothing has really changed for me. I know we did have some nice price action last week, which kind of gave up on Friday, but technicals are the same. You still have hidden bullish divergence on the daily. You still broke out of the wedge. You still have bounced off of that PCZ of the bullish crab on the 4-hour. It's still around the entry of the trade idea I put out. You still have the Adam and Eve potential double bottom. Like, nothing really has changed. You know, the options chain is still loaded. The short interest is pretty much the same. It's like, you know, we've seen multiple weeks of just kind of the same thing for Clover, but consolidation is not always bad. You know, moving sideways is not always bad, because sometimes when things just get really, really, really tight for weeks and weeks and weeks and nothing's happening, that's just from my experience when you could see the crazier moves, right? When things are just so quiet, you can see some sort of a breakout. And then when you have a breakout of some sort of a consolidation range, it could lead to a larger measured move. So I know there's another YouTuber I watch called Access a Trader. He always talks about the longer the consolidation, the longer the move up, right? And obviously that depends on if there is a move up. There's no certainty here, but for me, it's just like, I think as long as we still hold above this $7 area, and I know we haven't even tested 7 during this current downtrend, but as long as we hold that, I still don't think anything has changed. I think it really just comes down to when volume will come and stay, because we got a good volume off of earnings last week, but that just kind of faded on Friday. But in my opinion, it's more of just, if you can wait long enough, I do think there is a potential for something crazy here. I mean, looking at the options chain, it cannot be argued that you have an insane open interest for the calls, not only for this Friday, but just for the next few weeks. And then obviously the short interest is there, but I don't like looking at stocks just because they can be potential squeezes. I like looking at stocks because they actually have good technicals and decent fundamentals, or really good fundamentals, which I also think is true for Clover. It's just, I have a certain checklist when I look for potential trades or even just investments, and personally, this might not be for you, but personally, Clover just checks off a lot of them for me. And obviously there are some things that are kind of concerns, not only the shorting, but also there are definitely institutions against this stock that has been made clear. There have been downgrades from major institutions on Clover. There have been names like Hindenburg Research that have said rough things about Clover. Some have been disproven, some have been fair points, and you cannot argue that, but I'm just looking at it as a price standpoint and just being patient. That's really all I have to say about Clover. If you want more of my opinions on that tomorrow morning, again, I just made a video before the stream. It'll be out in the morning most likely, probably a little bit before the open. But yeah, I made another 15-minute breakdown video on Clover like I did similar to Fisker last year. So yeah, make sure to check that out when I drop it in the morning. That'll give you more of my thoughts on what's going on here. I did cover the Seeking Alpha article that came out over the weekend. They gave it an upgrade, but again, it's not really an actual institution's Seeking Alpha, but still interesting to see how these blogs are kind of turning from bearish to bullish. A lot of them are kind of changing their words on Fisker. So I'm not Fisker, Clover, but we are going to talk about Fisker now, which has been having a relatively rough time after they came out with that offering. That's probably just the easiest way to put it. You know, it's not really been going well. I did put out a swing trade idea for Fisker a couple weeks ago. It got like 3 or 4% away from the target, and then the offering came out. So definitely frustrating in terms of the swing trade. But from a long-term investor's standpoint, I think the offering could be good, you know, for the actual company, allowing them to raise capital to build the projects that they aim to build. Of course, it does create some sort of bearishness in the short term, which we have been seeing. So we'll see what this turns into. It did close under 1440, or it closed at 1440 on Friday, which is slightly under that support back from January and December. So we'll see what this week can bring for Fisker. I mean, if we go over to the lower time frames, definitely was oversold on Friday, had a decent bounce. If you're in the premium group, we did trade some calls on Fisker on Friday. They were all right. I think they went up like 25% or something, nothing crazy. But we'll see what this week brings for Fisker. I don't think there's much resistance until the $16 mark, which is the 200-day moving average. But also, if you really cannot hold this area, there could be more downside, just to be fair. If you break this $14 area or mid-14 area, historically your next support is around $12. You have a little bit of support at 13 from a couple pivots, but the real next big support would be 12 if it truly does break 14. So, you know, we'll see what all this turns into. I'm not trying to have a magic ball here, but you never know. If we kind of look at it like an XABCD, you did have a roughly a 618 retrace almost perfectly, which could lead into a Gartley or a crab. And if we just go like this, you know, the 786 retrace would actually be right around that $12 area. So you could have a potential bullish Gartley at a historical support. I mean, there would even be a potential for classic bullish divergence there on the MACD if it did something like this. So there's a lot of things that can happen. I'm not trying to look too far into the future. I'm just keep throwing out different ideas. But for right now, I would just like to see Fisker get back above 1455 and hold above that. That's probably the main thing I'd be watching this week for Fisker. But you never know. Moving on, Microvast. On my last stream, which I believe was last Thursday night, I talked about it quite a bit and how I thought, you know, the technicals were finally... I've been saying the technicals look pretty interesting since like last Wednesday or Tuesday. But I had to wait a couple days for it to pull back, because if you remember when I was talking about it the first time last week, I was saying on Microvast that, you know, it does have a bullish pattern and multiple bullish patterns, but it did run like 100% like a week. The hype was kind of over the limits for me with Wall Street bets and everything. But it did pull back on, I believe, Wednesday and Thursday, and then on Friday morning I put out a trade idea for Microvast, and it was probably the nicest move of the day that I saw from what I was watching. You know, I put out a trade idea on Microvast and it was up 6% by the close. So nice intraday move for Microvast, had a nice little pop. If we just look at the technicals right now, trade is currently up 5% since the entry. You kind of have like a hammer followed by a little bit of just like a neutral candle, but it was green. Obviously filled the gap. You still are within this potential right angle descending broadening wedge. And if we go over to the 1 hour, you could see it had a cup and handle. It broke out of the handle. You have 1 hour hidden bullish divergence. So there's a lot of technical things here on this chart for me looking at Microvast. I don't currently have a position in it personally, but I did trade it last week multiple times, and I will be looking at it again this week to trade it. So we'll see what this can turn out to be. Hopefully it can just stay above that $10 area, which was support in April and May. And yeah, that's the majority of the recap. I still have to go over a few other ongoing trades. So I'm just going to look at these, just recap these ongoing trades, because I obviously didn't talk about them from Friday. Not too much of any changes. And then after that, we're just going to take requests for the rest of the stream. So we got 44 people in here. Hit that like button right now. All right. It's a demand. No, I'm just kidding. If you want to hit that like button, I think it helps to grow the stream. I honestly don't know, but maybe it helps the algorithm out and stuff. So just hit that like button. Also, if you're not subscribed, we're on the way to 3,000 subscribers, so hit that subscribe button. If you're not in the Discord, join the Discord. That's all I'm gonna say. Just join the Discord. Let me see if I missed anything else in the chat. It doesn't look like I missed much. Co-creator says, not just here for CLOV though, here to learn off this guy. I follow knowledge, appreciate that. Yeah, that's my main goal. You know, typically I'm pretty neutral in terms of the stocks that I look at. There's only been really 2 or 3 times that I have been like really focused on one ticker. Like for example, last fall on a lot of the streams, I mainly talk about Fisker. A little bit in February of this year, I would talk about QS a lot. Both of those went very, very well. And then obviously for the last month or so, I have been heavily talking about Clover. But, you know, for the most part, apart from those 3 names, I just try and cover as much as I can. So this is mainly a stream that's dedicated to all stocks in general. Steven with the $10 donation, GRT to USD and UWMC, please. We will take a look at both of those tickers right now. just another reminder, if you ever tip $3 or higher, I'll look at whatever tickers you request immediately. The reason that I do that is just because if I just kind of did it for $1, it would just kind of be like, we've had situations where there's just been a lot of people requesting like dozens and dozens of tickers, and I just personally do not have the time to look at those many. But yeah, if you ever want to request a ticker and you want me to look at it like right away, if you're busy or whatever, just a $3 minimum. And obviously if you want to wait and you have the time to wait, then I do them for free for the majority of the stream, which we will do in about 10 to 15 minutes, and I'll look at everybody's tickers. But yeah, we're gonna look at both those really quickly right now for Steven. Thank you again for the $10 tip, yet another one. Let's get some vibes in the chat for Steven. And yeah, let's just look at those 2 tickers quickly. After we do that, I'll talk about the ongoing trades, and then after I do the ongoing trades, we're gonna do ticker requests for everybody in the chat. So let's take a look. We got, I believe, GRT, the crypto, first off. And then we also got UWMC, the stock. All right, so GRT to the US dollar. Might have been a failed trade setup I put out. I don't know. It looks like I already had it lined up. I'm just going to delete everything though and kind of rechart this. So it looks like it was kind of in this range between 50 cents and 88 cents. And as of just like 3 or 4 days ago, it might be breaking out of the range, and it also broke above it. Try to flip, or it's currently trying to flip that 88 cent level into support. So it could potentially be working on a break hook and go. If it really does start going, I think the next level will be $1.13, which is just your low from April 23rd. You also kind of have the 200-day moving average around there. And then yeah, if you zoom out, you kind of could look at this like a double bottom formation. Twice a bounce off of that 50-cent level. And then if we zoom out, maybe the whole entire chart could be a harmonic. Let's see. Maybe close to like, if it depends on how you line it up, there's definitely a couple ways, but close to a bullish bat, which kind of double bottomed at the PCZ. So, just looking at it right now, I definitely think there was a better entry area, which would probably be on the second test of that 50-cent support with classic bullish divergence over here. So entering right here, this did just go up about 90% in a month. And obviously Bitcoin has been on a tear. So I really think it just comes down to Bitcoin holding up and not really giving back, because I think if Bitcoin drops back down to like 40K, I think this could probably drop down a decent amount as well. So there's a lot of factors it depends on. At first, I just like to see it hold 88 cents. If it does break that, the next level I see is around 80 cents from this high over here and this high over here. So that's pretty much what I see for GRT to the US dollar. And then UWMC, I think it had a nice move on Friday. You still have hit bullish divergence, and on Friday it had a little bit of a spike with the volume, actually the highest volume since it looks like around the end of June. So very nice move on Friday. Technicals look good to me. If hitting bullish divergence, you broke out a wedge, you might be breaking out of a range right now. I think as long as it holds above $7.20, it looks good from a technical standpoint. But earnings are tomorrow morning, if I'm not mistaken. Look it up just to make sure. But with earnings tomorrow morning, anything can happen. It looks actually very, very similar to SoFi. SoFi also had a pretty decent downtrend from June into July. It started going sideways for a few weeks, and it started moving up going into earnings. But then earnings came out, and then SoFi came all the way back down to its support around 15. So it really just depends on the earnings number. I'm not saying that this is going to fall on earnings just because SoFi did. I'm just saying the charts look similar. So I think if earnings are not good tomorrow morning, I think 720 would be the level you want to hold if it does start falling down. If earnings are good tomorrow morning, then 864 would be your next resistance. It depends on the earnings number, and unfortunately I have no clue what those numbers will look like until they're out. So that's really my thoughts on it. Mehdi says UWMC earnings report in the morning and earnings call at 4:30 p.m. So yeah, definitely look out for both of those. It just depends on what the numbers look like. Thank you again for the $10 super chat, or the tip through Streamlabs. Better than a super chat. Thank you, Stephen. And yeah, now I'm just going to recap the rest of the ongoing trades, and then we're going to do ticker requests. So hopefully everybody's enjoying the Sunday streams. I haven't done a Sunday stream in like a month. But they're officially back, so we can kind of prepare for the weeks now. So to recap the ongoing trades, RES unfortunately did fall on Friday. It opened right around 394, which is the important historical level, but it's kind of fallen back down. So right now on RES, The support is 373 or 372. You just want to continue holding that, otherwise it does have room down in 357. And like I've been saying every night for RES for this trade, you just want to see this hold above $3.94. That's the most important level on this chart to me. You still have the classic bullish divergence. It's not really doing a good job of reversing at the pattern completion zones of the 2 harmonics on this chart. So hopefully you can get some life. There's also the X trade, which this was up 3% on Friday. And the trade itself is up 15% since the entry. So United States Steel Corporation is doing pretty well. Hopefully it can break over $30 this week. And then the first target is right under $32. Be at 3-year cup and handle on X. Trade is off to a nice start. And we'll see what all this kind of brings. I actually have no clue what's going on with the infrastructure bill, but that could obviously affect that. I believe it did pass the Senate. I don't know if it got to the House yet or what's going on there. If anybody knows, let me know in the chat. But definitely keep an eye out for that. BlackBerry, I don't even know how long this trade has been out, honestly. BlackBerry really has done nothing since the middle of July, so for almost a month now it's really done nothing. On Friday it does look like it might have broken out of this triangle to the downside. So at this point you just want to hold above $9.60, which is your historical support. So I just want to see BlackBerry hold above $9.60 this week, and then hopefully start making a move to the upside. The DOC trade, I mean, this ticker is probably the slowest moving ticker I've seen in a long time. It actually did reclaim the upsloping channel, but this trade's been out for like a month and it's only up 1%. So time will tell, I guess. By the time I retire, we might see if this trade hits the target. But until then, I have no clue. And then finally, to recap the ongoing trades, QS is the worst performer currently, down about 10%. It has to hold this low $21 area. That was your support 3 different times in the last month. So hopefully it can, I mean, it tried to bounce off of it on Friday, it actually kind of did, but hopefully it can hold above that. So yeah, if anybody's confused about why I'm going over these random tickers, well, I give out swing trade ideas on Twitter and in the Discord. And I'm just giving updates on the swings because I don't want to just put them out and forget about them. I just like giving updates, in case people are looking at the stocks themselves. So yeah, that's the recap going into this week. We'll see what everything, turns into in the next 5 days, but hopefully the first half an hour of the stream did give you some sort of education. And finally, we have a good slot of time for tick requests. Last week I was just kind of really busy, but now we at least have a good half an hour for me to just look at charts for everybody in the chat. So if you want me to take a look at a ticker for you, just drop it in the chat. Don't request anything that was up over 30% on Friday. I do not like chasing stocks personally, unless I'm day trading. Sometimes I will trade things that are up a lot, but I'm obviously looking at very low time frames. Also, do not request anything that IPO'd within the last month. I need data on a chart to analyze it. And remember, nothing I say is financial advice. Technicals are not certainty. They're only probability, okay? So let's take a look at tickers for all of you. Keep hitting that like button. Let's get to 50 likes right now. If you're not subscribed, let's get to 2,900 subscribers ASAP, and join the Discord. The link is in the description. If you're not in the Discord, like I always say, you're missing out. And I'll say it 1,000 times until you join the Discord and realize just how much you're missing out on. All right, so let's take a look at these takers. Did not mean to skip that song, but whatever. We got PENN, TSP, so Hut Mining, yeah, so we're just gonna be looking at charts for the next half an hour. I'm just looking at charts for all of you, and we'll see what we can find. Braden says also adding context to your take request will give better odds to him looking at it. Yeah, I mean, not necessarily better odds, but just it helps me out a little bit more, so I can kind of see what you're looking at and give you my thoughts on it. Wish, definitely a huge disappointment for a lot of people last week on earnings. We'll look at the Wish chart. I just put in Whoosh. And anything else? All right, so I think that'll pretty much be the first round. Let me finish all of these and then I'll add more tickers in after, most likely. We got a good like 30 tickers right now for me to look at. But we got 50 people in the stream, so yeah, we'll see how many we can get to. Appreciate everybody watching the stream on a Sunday night. I know the market's not even open for the week yet. But futures, let's see if there's any change on futures overnight. Still down about 0.5% on the Russell, and the NASDAQ and S&P are still a little bit down, not too much. All right, so I think we're good to just look at these tickers. PENN, first off, I don't like it under 75. 75 was resistance last fall in September and October and November, and it is now your resistance again. It's spent pretty much the last month using 75 as resistance. Personally, I do not like PENN under 75. If PENN breaks above 75, I would reconsider it. But until then, I think there is room down to 50. I mean, historically, right? It went straight up, right? It had a crazy run last year. It went straight up, and now it's coming kind of straight back down. So if we zoom out, your next support on the daily is around $52. However, it does not have to go there. If it breaks back above 75, then it can go to 85. If it breaks above 85, go back to 100. So it just depends on what the price action is. But I don't really see much of any patterns apart from that. I mean, I guess it did, double twice or double bottom kind of off of like the low 60s, but I really want to see us break back above 75. LODX says, remember finding you around the time Fisker had his IPO. Good to see you grow, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's kind of where all this started. So always, not only from a financial standpoint, but also just from everything here, Fisker is definitely, in a weird way, like kind of changed my life, So love Fisker forever. Hopefully it can grow to be the company I feel and kind of know it could be. Again, could be, but we'll see what happens. Did you end up buying that Fisker hat? I have 2 Fisker hats and 2 hoodies, and then also the sweatpants, and then also the Fisker mug. I have like most of the merch. The only thing I don't have is, I believe, the Fisker shirt. It sold out before I could buy it. So I have like almost all the Fisker merch apart from that. I'll probably start wearing it when I leave Miami, which will be on Tuesday. But also it's kind of like the middle of summer, and a lot of that, like the hoodie and the sweatpants are like super thick, so it's like really hot to wear them right now. So I might just wear them in the winter. But you'll probably see me wearing the Fisker hat quite often on stream. TSP, there's not much I can do. There's not a lot of data on this chart. It's just kind of in a downtrend. I would just be looking for this to start making higher highs and higher lows like that. I really don't know if there's much to do apart from that. I guess 33 is the level 33.36 is the level I want to see get back above. That was your support in April and May of this year, and now for the past 3 days it's been your resistance. I want to see it break back above that. HUT, kind of choppy here. Those are kind of your levels on the chart. It's almost overbought on the daily RSI. I could see this one going either way. Franco with the $3 super chat. I don't know if there's any message. It just looks like a sticker. But thank you very much, Franco, for the $3 tip. Let's get some vibes in the chat for Franco. Yeah, if you want me to look at any tickers. Oh, okay, you actually did type tickers. I'll take a look at FUBO MOTS for you right now. I think I already got FUBO on my watch list. Let me add LOTZ, but yeah, take a look at both of those. Vibes in the chat for Franco. And for HUT, I just want to see it hold above 630. FUBO for Franco, it kind of looks like a potential inverse head and shoulders right now. It would have to get above 35 to break out the neckline. You do have some hidden bullish divergence on the daily. It's been pulling back the last few days, but it did kind of bounce off the 200-day moving average on Friday, and it did fill a gap on Friday, I guess, from earnings. So I think it looks fine, but like long term. Short term, I'm a little bit mixed on FUBO right now. I just want to see it hold above 27, like no matter what. That was your support in June of this year and March of this year and even December of last year. So I just want to see it hold above 27 and eventually get above 35, hopefully. So that's really all I see for FUBO. Just like a long-term inverse head and shoulders. Could take a lot of patience here. And then next up we got LOTZ. It broke to a new all-time low on Friday. I mean, this is one of the only SPACs or post or X SPACs I can think about that has fallen under $4. I just want to see it start showing higher highs and higher lows. I mean, this thing has just been on a downtrend pretty much this whole entire year. Personally, I want to see it, like, before I get eager or bullish on LOTZ, I want to first see higher highs and higher lows, because all it's really done for the last however many months is lower highs and lower lows. So I guess it could be in a little bit of a falling wedge here. It's not super clear either, maybe more of like a downsloping channel. But that's really it. I mean, your previous all-time low was really $4. It broke under that on Friday and closed under that. So I guess, you know, to be very, very straightforward, I want to see it close above 4 at some point this week and hold above it. If not, then I mean, there's not really any support left. So I don't know what's happening with LOTZ from a fundamental standpoint, but it's just not really performed well. I mean, this thing has gone from $12 to $4 in the same year. So I just want to see something, you know, and I don't really know if there's any technicals that can kind of let you know exactly when it's going to reverse, but hopefully at some point it does, and that's when I would be a little bit more confident in its price action. A little bit more of like a you gotta wait first situation, not financial advice, but we'll see. I still have a lot more tickers I need to look at, so we're gonna get to those. Let me just take a look at the chat for a second before I do. We got 8 more likes to hit 50 likes, so hit that like button if you didn't already. Check out all the links in the description. We actually hit an all-time high again on the premium group, so appreciate all the premium members. Let's see, where did I get down to? So TLRY. Let me just try and add some more tickers that I missed, and then I'm just going to read all the other messages in the chat. SPRT had a very nice move in the morning on Friday, kind of pulled back intraday though. Home Depot, I think Home Depot has earnings this week, so it really just comes down to that. Roblox also has earnings, like tomorrow, so it comes down to that. I mean, we'll look at the charts, but you got to keep all that in mind. So next up is GILD. We're going to take a look at it in a second. We still have like another 30 tickers on my watch list that you all requested in the chat that I will get to, hopefully. So let me just read the chat for a second here. I think everything I have on my watch list now, though, will probably be the majority of it. So, all right, so Tom did just drop square in the chat, so we'll look at that. But I'm going to put some dashes in the chat right now. I just have a lot of tickers on my watch list right now. So I'm putting some dashes in the chat. No more ticker requests under that. Still got about like 30 more tickers to look at before I get out of here. So that'll probably take a good 20-30 minutes. But before I do continue on with these chart breakdowns, let me just see if I missed any messages. Co-creator says THB has some CLOV gear that's just out. Just ordered a hundo of that stuff. Nice. Hope you enjoy it. Sunny says it's like 30 degrees here and I'm still wearing a hoodie. 30 degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius? Cheddar Free says Asian stocks pulling back. Yep. Co-creator also says, curious if you ever happen to say if any of these tickers are still a good buy or curious if you ever happen to say if any of these tickers are still a good buy or would break that neutral stance. I'm not sure which tickers you're referring to. I don't know, maybe just elaborate a little bit more. I'm a little bit confused by that message. I do not know what ACR Canada is, unfortunately. And Mehdi also says LOTZ had to change their whole business. That's why they went to wanting to sell cars at a fee to having to buy auction cars and reselling due to crazy demand and little supply. Sunny says he normally just gives his perspective and then it's up to you whether or not you want to buy it. Are you just talking about like in general, co-creator? Yeah, I mean, I'm never ever going to say buy or sell whatever stock I'm looking at, you know? All I'm going to do is tell you if there are bullish or bearish technicals on the chart. And that's really it. You know, I'm not here to try and change your decision or make a decision for you. All I'm trying to do is share what I'm looking at on the chart. And I only talk about things that are real, right? So if there are bearish technicals on the chart, I will tell you that there's bearish technicals on the chart. If there are bullish technicals, I will also tell you that. So, I mean, everything I talk about are in the textbooks. So you can always feel free to fact check whatever I say. Sometimes I might mess up. I'm looking at so many tickers, I can't always be spot on. Sometimes I might confuse myself a little bit, but I try my best, and I always also try to stay, I'm not going to say neutral, but just unbiased. That's probably the best way to put it. Co-creator says, appreciate the channel, like the cool, calm, collected vibes. Just was wondering in general, bearish, bullish, exactly you said around. Yeah, I'm not necessarily bullish or bearish on any of these names before I look at the charts. I just look for the bearish or bullish technicals. Hopefully that makes sense, right? So I'm not saying to buy or sell. I'm just saying if I see bearish or bullish things. And again, just because you have bearish technicals does not mean for sure the stock is going to go down, and vice versa. So I'm just bringing up probabilities just to help you kind of see or just learn from what I've learned in the past 2 years of just charting. And for people who've been around here longer, you know what I mean when I'm talking about bearish and bullish technicals. And if you don't, there's a free course on my channel under the playlist section. And yeah, it's kind of like it's like a fine line with trading. You want to definitely give your opinions, and you want to have some sort of a bias. But in my opinion, you never want to be somebody who is just completely blinded to the other side. There's always two sides. Stocks will not go up forever. Stocks will not go down forever. There are stocks that historically are still around all-time highs. If we look at Apple, if you zoom out on the chart, it looks like it goes up forever, but there are still always dips in between. So it's a mixture of everything. And just some people unfortunately don't understand that. A lot of people message me and literally just ask me, hey, should I buy this stock? And I'm like, I don't know, should you? I can't, that's not something I can't answer. I'm not a financial advisor, and I don't want to kind of give myself that liability, because at the end of the day, I'm wrong all the time. And the best traders in the world are wrong all the time, but it's about knowing to be wrong in the right way, if that makes sense. It's about being a good loser. It's about managing your risks and capitalizing on the times that you're right and minimizing your losses on the times that you're wrong. So that's just kind of how I look at it. I really, especially in this space, there's just so many emotional traders. I think especially in the last year, a lot of emotional traders were created with Wall Street bets and with everything that's going on and all the moon boys and everything. I definitely, in certain times do have emotions. I think it's kind of unhuman to not have emotions. Sometimes I do have FOMO. Sometimes I do panic sell. I'm never going to trade perfectly, but I still, at the end of the day, always want to make sure I'm trying to teach in the most unbiased manner possible. So hopefully that kind of answers all those questions. But yeah, I still have a lot of tickers to look at, so I'm sorry for everybody waiting. I'm gonna look through all of these right now. I'm gonna try and speed through a bunch of them just because I have so many on my watch list. Remember, we're done with ticker requests for the night. If you didn't already drop a ticker in the chat, just wait till tomorrow night. But we got a lot to look at, so let's get started. First off is Gilead Sciences. It just broke above the $69 level. There's not much resistance historically until 80. So I definitely do think that this could have a move till 80. I mean, look at this as well. It continued to bounce off this demand line. It finally broke the supply line. If you think of Moderna and Pfizer, they have been running insanely well in the past few weeks. I'm not saying this is exactly the same stock as those two, but it's a similar industry or in the same industry, biotechs. So I think this does have more room to the upside. You just want to hold above 69. Viacom is next. This thing got dumped with all the Archegos Capital stuff. I just think it's in a range between 37 and 46. So I think whichever way it breaks this range will probably be telling, but until it does so, I really don't know. I'm pretty neutral on it until it breaks to a certain direction. Next up is POW. It's bouncing off this demand line. There's hidden bullish divergence on the daily. From a technical standpoint, I think it looks pretty good as long as it stays above 650. However, it does say on TradingView that earnings are tomorrow, so it comes down to the earnings numbers, obviously over the technicals, so it depends on how the earnings go. We also have StarBucks. It's in an upsloping channel. There is a potential for hidden bullish divergence on the daily. It looks pretty good to me. As long as it stays above the demand line of this channel, StarBucks looks fine to me. I do love Starbucks, so it might be a little bit biased there, but I do like their coffee. So yeah, as long as it stays above this demand line, I think the next resistance is 119. If it breaks above that, there is a gap fill at 125-ish. Amazon dumped on earnings. There is a potential for triple hidden bullish divergence on the daily chart for Amazon. and also hitting bullish divergence on the RSI. So the oscillators actually do look good on Amazon. It's just testing the 200-day moving average. As long as it can continue to hold above this, I think it looks good. If it breaks the 200-day moving average, that's a different story. Next up, we got Tesla. I like Tesla. I've been saying this for weeks now. It's had a good past few weeks, but I do like the Tesla chart. It does remind me of Wyckoff accumulation. And I think it could be in the final phase where it just kind of lifts off. But if you really look at it, Tesla's not done much since March. Tesla was at the same exact price that it currently is at in February and March of this year. It's just, in my opinion, I think there's some sort of reaccumulation going on here with Tesla. I like Tesla fundamentally. I see Teslas everywhere I go. Obviously, that's not the best point to make, but I think there's room up to 780, which was your highs from the middle of April of this year. If not, then I think your support's the 200-day moving average. But I do like Tesla for the next couple of months from a technical standpoint. Hopefully, there's no bad news or whatever that invalidates all of that. My hair is like going into my eye. It's super annoying. But rig is up next. Support is $3.09. Pretty historical level. As long as it holds that, I guess it's fine. I don't really see any bullish technicals on it. Maybe it's breaking out of a little bit of a channel, but it's not really showing any price action after said breakout. So it's kind of unclear to me here. Let's see. Close, but a little bit deep from the B to D point for a crab. Disney is next up. We talked about this falling wedge weeks ago. We talked about it. It broke out of it. It's been running. It had a crazy day on Friday. I think earnings was last week. Yeah, it was last week. So kind of opened up really, really nicely on Friday, but then sold off into the close. There is a little bit of a gap fill around 178 or no, 179 for Disney. So I just want to see it hold above 178.5, which was the resistance for the past 2 months. Now we got NEE, Next Era Energy. Closest support is 81.48. After that, you got the 200-day moving average at 76, and then you got the support, the real big support at 72.25, which was your support in May and December last year, and also your resistance in September last year. In terms of resistance, you got the previous all-time high at 87.70, but you could also use Fibonacci. Oh wow, look at that. So your 1618 Fibonacci extension perfectly lines up with your previous all-time high. So just a little bit more of a validation of resistance. If it ends up going crazy, then you probably got the high 90s to $100 area as psychological resistance, but we'll see what happens. INVU is next. Let me clear this up. You do actually kind of have hidden bearish divergence playing out on the daily, which implies a continuation of a downtrend. I think it's just kind of testing the 200-day moving average. It had a doji candle on Friday. It's an OTC, which is not the easiest thing to use technicals on. I think your strongest support range is around 10 cents. It's obviously very far from that. And then I'd say your resistance is around 23 cents, so it's kind of in between. I can see this one going either way. And unfortunately, if you've been watching the streams, you know I said that so many times, but that's just kind of the truth about technicals. You're not always going to get a bullish or a bearish reading. Honestly, most of the time, you're just going to get a pretty unclear reading. You know, that's just kind of how they work. Most of the time, technicals are going to be unclear, but you do get certain times where they are clear, and you can kind of take some sort of a position off of that as long as you manage your risk. That's the whole entire game. You know, you're really trying to turn gambling into the opposite side, right? So instead of trying to be the player at a casino, you're trying to be the house. That's what technicals kind of can do for you. So relatively, the house and the player at a casino can both win and lose, but typically the house has a slightly increased odds, which does add up over time, right? So if you're at a casino and the house has a 51% chance of winning on the blackjack table and the player has a 49% chance of winning, yeah, if you look at one specific night, it's probably going to be around a 50-50 in terms of who won and who lost. But if you add up that over time, the 51% eventually creates a lot of money, even though it's a very, very small increase. And obviously, those are not exact numbers. I'm just saying that's really what you're using these technicals for, just to give you an increased probability and a better chance of compounding gains over time as a swing trader, as a day trader, or as an investor, which you probably need a lot more fundamental analysis for. But for right now, on this stock, I'm pretty neutral on it. It's in the middle of the range. It's at the 200-day moving average. It literally had an indecision candle on Friday, which is pretty much a doji candle. That's really it for that one. FUTU, it's testing a support. This was the same level it bounced off of in March of this year and May of this year and July. It tested on Friday, bounced a little bit, could be a little bit of a bullish shark here. So I just want to see it hold above 99 bucks. Airbnb putting in a nice move after earnings, bullish engulfing candle on Friday. Very, very good volume on Friday. I believe earnings was last week as well. So next resistance on Airbnb is 162, pretty much. And support is 144. Now we got Micron. Might be breaking a wedge to the downside, which is pretty uncommon, but still possible. So a little bit of a falling wedge. Maybe this is a fake out and it just kind of gets back into it. There is a gap fill at 74, but for right now, it does look like it broke this demand line. Let me just make, which is the way I have it charted. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches on that demand line, and you broke under it on Thursday, and then you tested as resistance on Friday. But you do have support right over here at 69.45. It was your support from December of last year. So you just want to hold that. Otherwise, I mean, you got 61 as your next support, which was your resistance last February. Robinhood, if you're in the Discord, I shared this on Friday. It broke out of a falling wedge. The MACD did cross over to green. I can really only look at the 1 hour chart because it's such a new stock. There's not a lot of data on the chart, but pretty interesting. Not only did it create a falling wedge right off the rip, but also it created a harmonic pattern right away. Bullish Gartley on Robinhood. It's not super perfect, but it's kind of there. Actually, no, I did this a different way. Let me look at it one more time. I looked at it like this. Yeah. So kind of close to bullish Gartley here. Again, it's not perfect. You're a little bit shallow on some points there, but you did get some sort of a reaction at about a 73% retrace, broke out of a wedge. And I'd say the next resistance is around 60 bucks. Psychological resistance, 50% retrace, and your candle high on August 6th on the 1 hour chart. So support for Robinhood is probably around $47. You just want to hold above that. SHCR, very, very choppy to me. That's really all I can do. There's like a slightly upsloping channel. You just want to hold above this demand line. Apart from that, there's not much I can do. It's just kind of weird looking from a technical standpoint. We still got about like 10 more tickers I got to look at, which are ATOS, Peloton, Wish, TLRY, ASTS, SPRT, BTU, Home Depot, Roblox, and Square. So I am going to look at those, but let me just look at the chat for a second here. And remember, we're done with the ticker requests for the night after these. We're currently 6 likes away from 50 likes, so make sure to hit that like button if you didn't already. Dan says, do you think pre-market morning gap downs is a good strategy? Just playing them on Mondays after we can have an effect on that strategy. I think any sort of formation like a pre-market gapper or a gap down or an after hours runner, like, there's a lot of people that trade those types of moves, but I don't think it's as simple as just that. Just because something gaps down in the pre-market does not necessarily mean it's the buy. Sometimes things will gap down in the pre-market because they're doing an offering and it just drops the rest of the day. So it depends on a lot of other different indicators. It's not just as simple as some sort of a gap in the pre-market. Is it a viable strategy? Yeah, there are certainly things that gap down and then kind of fill that gap within in the first hour of the day. That's definitely a common day trader's method of making money, but it depends on so many other variables. You gotta be looking at other technicals. You have to know the reason for it gapping down, if there is one. You gotta know what the market looks like. You gotta kind of use all the indicators together just apart from a singular gap down. So it depends. Shadow Free says, you get so many of the messages about should I buy and should I sell? Yeah, I mean, especially a lot of new traders like to ask me stuff like that, like should I buy and should I sell? Like honestly, I can't tell you that, you know. First of all, I don't want to get in trouble for giving financial advice, and then second of all, that's up to you. I mean, even if I was a financial advisor, I probably would not be telling random people to do things. So I'm never going to answer that question, but I will always feel free to tell you what the levels are on a chart, to tell you if there's any bullish or bearish divergence, and try and help you out there. I just cannot directly tell you if something's a buy or a sell. And also I want to teach you to make your own choices, right? That's the whole entire idea of education. And co-creator says, sorry for interrupting, I'll chat less. No, please chat more. There is no interruptions. I want the chat to be as good as possible, so the more chats the better always. Sunny says, I work at Starbucks as well, and every year we get like 7 shares of their stocks as free money. That's actually pretty cool. And let's see. And they pay for a chunk of your tuition. I know, I think Chipotle does something like that as well, which is pretty cool. Christopher says, AI day Thursday for Tesla. We'll see how that goes. And then Sunny says, also when you get to the TLRY, is it in a triangle on the weekly? Looks like it could break out soon. We'll take a look at TLRY first, and then we're gonna look at the rest of them. But yeah, 3 likes hit 50 likes. So if you didn't hit the like button, hit it right now. And hit that subscribe button as well if you're enjoying the stream and you want to watch the stream more. If you don't want to watch the stream anymore, then do not hit the subscribe button. That would probably be a bad idea. But if we go over to the weekly chart on TLRY, is it in a triangle? You're probably looking at it like this. But if you look at it like this, look at how perfect this demand line is over here. It broke that demand line about a month ago. So if you look at it like that, then no. I mean, kind of broke out of that. I mean, if you want to look at it in a different way, maybe looking at it like a descending triangle, like that. Yeah, kind of, but again, it could break out to either direction. You do have some hidden bullish divergence on the weekly as well on the MACD, so I think the daily is probably more important here. I don't think the weekly is super clear, but regardless, you would probably just want to break this supply line at some point on the weekly. You go over to the daily on TLRY. Looks like it broke out of a wedge, but it's not really doing much after. Well, I mean, initially it had a nice move, but now it's kind of pulling back. I think the next support is around 12 bucks. I don't know if it gets there, but it's just kind of in between 12 and 15. 15 was your resistance. It was your support back in January of last year, and then it flipped to resistance on August 10th. So it's in between support and resistance on the daily. ATOS. I've been looking at ATOS for months now. I think I put out like multiple swings on it as well, but this one's just not really been having any good moves since. I mean, it had a nice move in June, but for the last month, it's just been in a downtrend. So I broke out of a falling wedge. There's hidden bullish divergence on the. I mean, there are many bullish technicals on this chart. Falling wedge, bullish divergence on the daily. I think there's also. Yep, triple classic bullish divergence on the 4-hour. Like all the bullish technicals are there, but the price is not really reacting, right? There's going to be certain stocks which follow technicals better. You know, there's certain stocks I know of that I just see the technicals playing out all the time on, and they just work out super, super well. And then there's other stocks where, like, most of the time I see the technicals getting invalidated. So you always want to learn what the personality of a stock is. But like for right now, I've just seen this kind of invalidate a lot of technicals. Hopefully, at some point, it can follow all these bullish ideas, but I just want to see it hold above 281, which is the 200-day moving average. That was also the lows from the beginning of this month. Maybe even a potential harmonic here. I mean, there's so much to work on this chart, so much to work with on this chart, but it's not really getting the price action just yet. I mean, pretty close to a bullish Gartley as well. So there's so much, but I just want to start seeing it create higher highs and higher lows, at least on like the 1-hour chart. On the 1-hour chart right now, it's just going sideways. So I just want, there are bullish technicals on ATOS. I just want to see it start doing something. Peloton kind of looks like a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders to me. And then now on its right shoulder is creating a downsloping channel, but it's just not really doing much. I think it might come down to earnings on this, which are at the end of the month or in about 2 weeks. So in the short term, you probably just want to hold above 108, which was your lowest from the middle of last month. And then your resistance is like a mid $120 area, which has been resistance since February. Wish is up next. It gapped down on earnings last week, was a failed swing idea. It did close a little bit above 750, closed right at 750 after hours as well. From a technical standpoint, I don't really know. I think it really just depends on if buyers want to buy the dip after the earnings sell off. So for the next couple of weeks, I don't really know if technicals will be the best way to look at Wish just because of how crazy the earnings went. So I'll just be watching the price action from the sidelines on this name. That's really it. It gapped down on earnings very, very harshly. There's probably a lot of bag holders now. And it could take time to get going again. I mean, at this level, it did bounce back up to 15. Look at this. Like, look at this, all right? So the last time Wish came down to 750, it went back up to 15 in 2 days. Isn't that crazy? In 2 days, it went from 7 to 15 the last time it was here. I don't know if that's going to happen again. I honestly don't think it's going to happen again. But it doesn't, just because it failed to do anything on earnings, or it actually just went down on earnings, doesn't mean that Wish is screwed forever. But it just does mean that you have definitely short-term turbulence. So I'll just be interested to see how things play out in the short term. Personally, I'm not in Wish, I'm not long, I'm not short. I'm just watching from the sidelines until I see something or somewhat of a more clear signal on the chart. And then fundamentally, I mean, it depends on how you think of it. I know a lot of people that love Wish fundamentally, and I also know a lot of people that think it's a horrible company. Obviously, earnings did not go so well, but who knows? You know, I'm sure Amazon didn't have the greatest earnings ever 20 years ago. And now we all know what Amazon is today. So it just depends on your outlook. Still got a few more tickers to look at. Just a reminder, we're not doing any more ticker requests in the chat. I already kind of loaded up my watch list for the night. I still have more to finish looking at. But if there's any other questions in the chat, I'll just kind of see if I could see anything else. Cocator says, I don't actually like it when people tell me to buy or sell. I prefer to make my own decisions, as you should. Cali Frankie 89 says, I slept. Welcome to the channel, Cali Frankie. Make sure to join the Discord as well. Links in the description. Journaling trades help so much, says MM Finance. Definitely agree. Also like the name change there on your YouTube account. Let me restart my playlist because it finished. Sammy says, I really like you chart. Do you mind sharing the software website? It's just TradingView, the best charting platform in my opinion. That's not sponsored. However, I wish it was. That's probably the only sponsorship I would like. In the last month alone, I've had like 3 different sponsors reach out. But I'd never want to sponsor and give you all ads to watch unless I legitimately like the company, and that's why really the only other company I've worked with is Tradedics, which you all know. I mean, I use that every single day, and I love that platform. And they don't pay me, but they definitely do help me out. So, and not necessarily they don't pay me money, but you know, they gave me a full account and they help me out with helping other people out. So yeah, it's just like a cool partnership. It's not really like anything like, you know, official or anything. It's just I try and talk about them, and they also hook me up whenever I need something. So I appreciate them as well. Al says, I'm hoping CLOV will hit over $9 soon. I want to cash out soon. I don't think it's looking too good lately. I hope it'll get I hope it'll get, how do I put this? I hope Clover not only goes to 9, but much higher. That's all I'm going to say. I think Clover can be a lot higher than 9. I know that's really all you're hoping for, but it was at 9 last week, multiple times. So, you know, good luck to you. We'll see how everything works out. So yeah, let me try and finish the rest of these tickers on my watch list. ASTS is out of support. This is the same support from June. It ended up bouncing at it and running all the way up to 15. Now it's back at it. I don't really see anything apart from that. Maybe a little bit of a downsloping channel. I'm not really breaking out of it right now. SPRT has been on my watch list for a while. It's a little bit of a cup and handle with hidden bullish divergence. I talked about this on stream not too long ago. I also shared it in, I believe, a weekly watch list. Not actually, I shared this publicly, I think, in a tweet. I made like this random watch list that I shared like 2 weeks ago on Twitter, and I just shared a few tickers on it, and like all of them went really, really well. Let me see if I can pull it up really quickly. Yep, there we go. So if we pull this up, so like August 4th, I said just did some scanning, ATOS, SPRT, VRA, and edit all stuck out to me. I shared that on August 4th on my Twitter. And then on Friday, I just looked at all those tickers again. And since I shared that watch list, ATOS was 5% higher. SPRT, which is what we're looking at, is 47% higher, or at least it was in the morning before it pulled back. VRA was about 9% higher, and edit was 42% higher. So yeah, that watch list I shared on Twitter did pretty well in a couple of weeks. If you ever want watches like that every single week, I actually shared one today in the premium channels. Links in the description. That's all I'm going to say. Again, I don't like bringing it up too much, just in case that's something people are interested in. But yeah, SPRT, hidden bullish divergence on the daily, had a crazy nice move on Friday morning, but it gapped up, and then by the end of the close, or by the time it closed, it filled the gap. So it just went over to fill that gap. I think it still looks fine above like $6, but obviously there is downside to that to test that level. So we'll see what happens this week. And then your resistance is around 9, which was like kind of your breakout point of this cup and handle if you look at it like that. BTU is next. It's just kind of on autopilot. It looks like the S&P 500 to me. It's just kind of trending higher and higher and higher. And maybe a little bit of like maybe a rising wedge actually, which is a bearish pattern. But again, it could break to the upside and invalidate that. Just because it's a bearish pattern doesn't mean it's going to break to the downside for sure. Bearish patterns can absolutely break to the upside. So we'll see which way it breaks. Until then, I'm not too sure. Do have some resistance at around $14, which was your support from October 2019, and actually was your resistance on August 11th. If you break above that, you actually have a gap fill all the way from October 28th, 2019 at 1575. And then the next two tickers on my watch list are Home Depot and Roblox. Home Depot has earnings on Tuesday. Roblox has earnings on Monday. So please keep that in mind before I look at these two charts. Earnings can override anything I talk about to either direction. So only 3 more tickers until I'm done for the night. Home Depot, classic bearish divergence on the daily. You're making lower highs on the MACD with higher highs on price. And it's just kind of in an upsloping channel. So if earnings are good, your next resistance is 346. If earnings are bad, I'd say your next support is around 315. You're kind of in between them. Roblox is next. I believe earnings are tomorrow for Roblox. I've been saying this for weeks now. I know Chad Freeze has also been talking about it. The technicals on Roblox are bullish. You bounced at a bullish candle, you broke out of a falling wedge, you reclaimed the $78 level, which was resistance from May. But again, comes down to earnings tomorrow. And then final ticker of the night is Square. It's just in a long-term range. If this breaks to the upside, I'd probably use Fibonacci from this high to this low. And your 1618 would be 333. Other than that, other than this range it's in, it's also kind of within a little bit of like an upsloping channel, maybe a little bit of an ascending broadening wedge. So that's how I'd be looking at Square. And yeah, thank you for the 54 likes. Thank you to everybody who watched the stream tonight. Those are all of the ticker requests that I put on my watch list. Futures are still a little bit red, not the end of the world though. Bitcoin 47.7K right now. And then just a reminder, tomorrow morning I will have about like a 15-minute video dropping. Because I know I didn't really talk too much about CLOV on tonight's stream. Just wanted to keep it more focused on the general market and just doing a lot of ticker requests for everybody. But I will have a separate video to talk more about CLOV coming out in the morning. Mehdi says you should throw ads at the end. Is what it is. Honestly, I'm sure at some point I will be doing some sort of a sponsorship or ad, but for right now I'm just focused on growing the stream and providing the highest quality content to all of you. I just want to wait. I'm very picky with that. You know, I want to wait until it makes a lot of sense for me to partner up with somebody you know, not only financially, but also just I want to work with a company that makes sense for me. I've had a lot of companies reach out to me. I've talked about it on stream before, but I've had 2 different crypto coins reach out to me as well. Those were the easiest no's. Actually, one, I don't know if I can say it, but one of them, I don't know if I can say this, but let's just say one of the coins is like, it's pretty well known, and I'm surprised that they reached out to me, and I did not know that they would actually be trying to get people to sponsor their coins. So I'm not gonna, yeah, like you're saying, hashtag no pump in the chat. I'm not gonna bring it up, but I don't know. If you're in crypto, just do more research on the altcoins that you trade, because not only for myself, but I know other creators who have been reached out to by like very well-known crypto coins. It's just, I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right for crypto coins to be how do I put this? Promoting through streamers. It's just kind of fishy to me. I'm sure you've all seen you know, the certain scams that have been on YouTube in the past couple of months with crypto. So yeah, I'm just never gonna even risk that. Mehdi says, are they on Binance or CoinMarket? Yeah, they are on Binance. That's all I'm gonna say. And they even tried to like flex that when they reached out to me. They were like, hey, we're also on Binance, so like we're legit. And I'm like, all right, if you're trying to ask me to sponsor you, I don't know. But yeah, ads, I'm sure at some point I'll have some sort of a good partner, but for right now, just haven't seen anything that made sense to me. I'm just so focused on making this community as good as possible, you know? I've even had other communities try and get me to be like moderators for them, or a content creator for them, which I really do appreciate it. I just kind of hurt my leg, but at the end of the day, I'm more focused on building my own thing with all of you than trying to backpack off of other people's creations. Champion Vibes T says, now that you're back from Miami, you're gonna show some love. I'm not back from Miami. I am still in Miami. I leave in 2 days, but I will be having tea again when I'm back. Neutron Flux Lab says, if you need to reach out and get a sponsor for a coin, then that coin in it. Yeah, no, I'm never going to do any sponsorships with the crypto. Unless somehow Satoshi Nakamoto reaches out to me. I'll be glad to sponsor Bitcoin, but I'm sure that's never going to happen. So yeah, thank you for watching the stream tonight. Good luck to everybody trading this week. And I'll be live again tomorrow night at 9 p.m. EST. The timestamps from tonight's stream will probably be up within an hour, so look out in the Discord or on my Twitter for that. And have a great night. Cheddar Free says, cheers all, see you in the morning. And remember, if you like pineapple pizza, you're gross. That is very, very true. So yeah, shout out to Scrooge in the chat as well. Hope you're doing well. And I'll see you all in a little bit, all right? See you tomorrow night. Have a great night. Peace out. Oh, and remember, Clover video dropping tomorrow morning. And if you want to watch that, watch that. Peace out.